Hey und willkommen zurück zu einem neuen Part von Seduce, wie die Eriks Route. Im letzten Part sind Suzu und Naomi gekommen und ja, Matthew hat die Tür geöffnet und nun müssen wir erklären, beziehungsweise James erklärt wahrscheinlich, was sie da machen. Also lesen Sie weiter. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi and sat across from their confused gazes. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Erik and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising the guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing!
Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meals.
Make sure you dig in!
Matthew! I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Suzu and as Naomi... Blah. God. Blah. As Naomi... Boah, Alter, ich kann nicht mehr lesen, tut mir leid. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
Whoa, what?
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
Yeah.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Suzu!
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Yeah, something like that.
Sam.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
Matthew!
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Wow, sehr detailliert.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
Alter, immer wenn der Princess sagt, ist... Oh, Hilfe, Erik. So wirkt nämlich seine Route. And by soon, they mean tonight.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I want to help out, but at the same time I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me an understanding look, letting me know that if I left, everything will be okay. I had to make a decision. I stay and help around the house. I go out with Suzu and Naomi. Weil wir ja Eriks Route machen. Bin ich mir 100% sicher, dass ich sagen muss, I stay and help around the house. Weil würde ich mit Suzu und Naomi ausgehen, weil anscheinend kann man auch Suzu und Naomi als Beziehungspartner nehmen. Deswegen, I stay and help around the house.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Besides, it is my housewarming party. I should help out too.
Want us to help out as well?
I think we got it all taken care of. Thanks, little goat.
All right, we'll head on out then so we're not in the way.
Sorry guys, I hang out with you guys soon.
It's all good, Anderson. We'll definitely come to the housewarming party tonight.
Sam's Gesichtsausdruck, der ist... Thank you. I lead him back into the lobby and walked them to the doors, opening for them with a thankful smile. They both gave me hugs before walking up to Naomi's car, which was parked in the driveway. And with that they left. I was happy that they wanted to help, but I had to do this on my own. It was not their work, so I didn't want to thrust it on them just because they were my best friends. We had the entire day to work. The party was tonight and we had to do all we could to make everything right. We sat down and talked about what needed to happen before the party started that night. Each guy has been assigned a different part of the party to do, and right after lunch we began to work. Since everything was taken care of by at least one incubus, James told me I could assist one of them. The question was, who? Ihr könnt das jetzt nicht lesen, aber da steht Erik with the dining room. Weil Sam with the front yard ist wahrscheinlich für Sams Route. Matthew with cooking ist wahrscheinlich für Matthews Route. Damien with the lobby ist Damiens Route. Und James with the garden ist James Route. Also nehme ich das da unten. I stayed in the dining room knowing that the table had to become a buffet table. As I looked around the room carefully, I noted that the floor needed waxing and the table surface needed major dusting. Erik came up next to me, lowered a small mop and bucket he had brought in onto the floor and rolled his sleeves up higher on his arm before looking at me with a raised eyebrow.
Are you sure you want to work with me with cleaning this place up? It'll be a lot of cleaning and tidying. Plus, we have to move the chairs to the corner.
No, ich bin mir sicher, ich krieg das hin. I shook my head, rolling up my sleeve and walking to the table, grabbing a hold of a chair. I think I can handle lifting a couple chairs and moving them. Erik smiled at me with a soft chuckle before following my lead. Eventually, we had moved all the chairs to the corner of the room and had begun cleaning the room and the table. Silence consumed the air as we both focused on cleaning. I decided to start mopping the floor, but as I stepped towards the bucket, my foot rolled over a small, fluffy object, causing me slip. No! Before I hit the floor, however, I wound up in the arms of Erik, staring up at him in a dance-like dip while gripping onto his shirt. His face had pure concern as he held on and looked down at me.
Are you all right, princess?
Just nod. All I could do was nod as I stared at Erik. He was genuinely concerned. There was no flirtation or smirk on his face. It was cute to see a new side of him. Erik let out a small sigh in relief.
That's a relief. You didn't twist your ankle, did you?
No, I'm fine. Gently, I felt Erik's arm dip under my knee so he could lift me up bridal style. I gripped tighter onto his shirt before he set me on the table and knelt down to look at my feet. I'm really fine. Erik didn't speak as he gently looked over my ankles, lightly massaging them to test for pain. I didn't feel any pain. I felt pleasure. I bit my lip as Erik gently massaged his fingers over my skin. I had foot massage before, but Erik had amazing skill. Each touch and press sent a wave of pleasure running up my spine. I had to fight to hold back a moan. Erik's face, though, didn't shift to any of mischief or seduction. It remained as constant as ever. He was full of surprises. Eventually, he finished looking over my feet and smiled in relief. He slowly stood up and smiled his usual smile at me with a small giggle.
You were right, princess. You were fine.
Habe ich gesagt. Alter, ich kann nicht mehr lesen. Erik gently lifted me off the table and lowered me to the floor before placing a swift kiss onto my forehead and continuing his work. I stood there for a moment before slowly walking to the bucket and cleaning as well. My heart continued to pound as we both finished cleaning. Then, the hour of the housewarming party had arrived. In my mind, I keep double and triple checking the essential for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. Ich habe mal nachgeschaut und was ich herausgefunden habe, manche Entscheidungen muss man in der Zeit treffen. Also wenn ich keine Entscheidung getroffen habe, geht einfach weiter. Wahrscheinlich ist es bei der Party so weit. Ja, die stellen Fragen und dann soll man ja anscheinend sofort antworten und so. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my thumb as million thoughts went through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectation. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubator to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through the living alone. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. Ah, sie sieht süß aus. Naomi mit ihrer... Oh Gott, nee. Natürlich kommt Suzu nicht im Kleid, sondern, ne? As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi's and Suzu's face. This turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while, I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Oh! Ei! Hilfe! Alter! I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubator stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants. Das sieht wirklich gut aus. Hilfe.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman. Even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Susan and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princes. I felt my face slightly flushed, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down the final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
As ready as I'll ever been, huh? I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all that I could to prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost what occurred, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Erik quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in the best. Best. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked at the boys and noticed Sam and Erik staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back in hiding her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The word around me stopped as my heart pounded hard in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me on his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
Oh boy. My potential?
to become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubator, but there were continued to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Susan raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small brief before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a width in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests, men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was again surprised at night. Oh Gott, die meisten Entscheidungen liegen ja hier drunter. Oh Gott, ich hoffe, ich kann die lesen in Zeit. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as natural as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
Oh God! Ugh. It's been pretty good, actually.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Thank you for your condolence. Da seht ihr ganz langsam den Schmetterling.
Do you have college plans?
There's a possibility. I feel like the question came up one after another. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
It will get backtracked soon.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
Oh God! It's a... Sorry, person... Ich nehme das da drunter, ich weiß
Do you
nicht, was
think
da
the
steht.
company should expand from just toys?
It's a possibility. Eventually, the question stopped and I was back to being myself. Naomi and Susan were mingling in the crowd and the incubi were doing their jobs. So I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about it. At least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
Wait, what? With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
Place your hand in his. As I placed my hand in his, he raised it to his lips and kissed over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand. Oh.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then shook it nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and there were the personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly, whatever it was fear or consult. Andrew looked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well,
I said that, and this guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO. I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Das Gesicht von der Mutter.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. Follow him oder stay put. Ich bleib mal hier, oder? I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
Peh. He's not CEO material.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. Wrong word, and he lectured me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I left outside before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Huh? Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mom. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the door before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. Ab hier mache ich Pause. Nicht Pause. Endlich die Folge. Ich hab schon wieder meine 20-Minuten-Marke überboten. Nein. Ich will das unbedingt. Ja, ich hoffe, euch hat der Part gefallen und wir hatten ein bisschen Zeit mit Erik. Ja. Also er kann auch kann sich Sorgen über uns machen. Das ist süß. Auf jeden Fall, wir hören uns beim nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao, ciao.